This class has a focus on grounding. We'll use a block and a small pebble or small rock or even a golf ball would work. And if you don't have a hard surface nearby, you might also want to grab a book. Otherwise, if your block is pretty hard, we can use the block as well, just for placing the pebble when we use that later on. So we'll start. If you have some water, make sure you grab that too. We'll start on our backs with a body scan. You can also stay seated if you prefer that option as well. If you're on your back, legs can be long or knees can be bent with your feet on the floor. And we'll just start with noticing how our body is feeling before we get started. Scanning, starting with the feet or the heels, noticing the contact they're making with the floor. Sensing the imprint underneath each foot and just noticing any difference from one to the other. Sensing the low back and its imprint on the mat. Noticing any difference from the left to the right. Sensing the shoulder blades and how they're resting. Noticing if one feels a little higher off the ground. And the back of the head, if you're resting in the center or slightly turned. And then last, just notice your breathing without needing to change anything about your breathing. Just sensing where your body moves as you breathe in and breathe out. And noticing any sensation you can feel as you're breathing. As you're ready, you can set that information aside. We'll come back to the end of class and compare. Anything feels different. Take a little stretch or movement here while we're still lying down. And then gently make your way into standing. Before we start our joint mobility warm-up, we're just going to take another little standing scan so we can sense how our body is stacked on top of our feet. So just start by noticing your feet and the imprint they're making on the mat. Sensing where your weight is distributed on your feet and if it's any different from one foot to the other. Is your body weight more forward or backward or out to the sides of your foot? If you were standing on the beach and you stepped away and looked down at your footprints, would the imprints in the sand look the same from one foot to the other, or would it be deeper in different parts? And just noticing how your knees are stacked over your ankles, your hips are stacked over your knees, shoulders over the hips. And we'll see if we can shift this a little bit so there's a little bit more ease in standing. So you can let that rest and we'll move into our joint mobility warm-up. We'll start with arm circles going backwards to open up the front of the chest. You can take these big or small, fast or slow. And when you feel a little bit warmed up here, you can take some different directions. So maybe you want to bring the arm circles forward or up or down towards the floor, or some different directions. Just a couple more. And let that rest. Arms can come down. Shake it out if you like. Windmills are next. Alternate arms across the center of the body. Big circle. Let the torso rotate, warming up the spine. Option to bend the elbows here and start to pull against the air like you're swimming, bringing a little more engagement of the shoulder muscles here. And let that rest. Arms can come down, shake it out if you like. Wrists are next, like a wave in front of the body. Floating up, floating down. Wiggling the fingers to release the muscles in the hands. Option for the hands to push down towards the floor, engaging the shoulders again, floating up, pushing down like you're sending pillars into the floor under your hands. Maybe find a pace that matches your breathing. Let's take one more. And rest. Bow and arrow is next. Palms forward, arms apart. Palms come together on one side. Pull back with effort and open. Repeat at your own pace. Let your head follow that moving arm. So we're warming up the neck here also. Let's take one more. And arms can rest. Shake it out if you want. And then moving to the second side. And one more. And let the arms rest. Standing cat-cow, tuck the tail under, reaching forward, looking towards the floor. Gentle bend in the knees as you round your back. As you're ready, come back to standing. Draw the hands and elbows back, chest forward, tail behind. You can look up if you like. Going between the two movements at your own pace. Each repetition, maybe getting a little bit more range in the movement. Let's take one more. And let that rest. Moving to the side body next, let's start with a gentle rotation. Arms swing from side to side. Just notice the range of motion and any sensation you feel as you rotate. And bring it back to center, and we'll lengthen the arms one at a time. Draw the armpit down towards the hip on one side and high five off to the side. Or arm can come across the front of the chest if that feels better for the neck or shoulders. Leading with a flat hand or fingers drawn back towards the arm will give a little more sensation. If you want a little bit less sensation, lead with the fingers. Contracting down and lengthening, noticing if we can get a little bit more range of motion here. Let's take one more. And just comparing, reaching the side we haven't worked with yet and the side we've been working on, just to see if the sensation or range of motion feels a little bit different from one side to the other. And let's start the second side. Notice when you start to feel each side is even. You can take a few more on this side, or whenever you're ready, just start reaching from one side to the other in some different ways that you might reach during the day, maybe across the front of the body, Adding a little bit more exaggeration with the reach, maybe feeling the arms a little bit longer. Noticing the length, any change that we just created with that release. Then bring it back to center, and we'll come back to the arm swing. Just noticing if it feels any faster, smoother, lighter, more even this time around. And bring it back to center. We'll move to the hips. Imagine you're standing inside of a box. Reach the left hip to the left front corner of the box, right hip to the right front corner. Just the right range of motion that feels good today. Little stretch for the front of the hip. And let's add a half circle behind. Reach forward, sweep back behind you like the back half of a hula hoop. Reaching forward, sweeping back. Noticing any spots that feel a little bumpy or sticky. Going a little bit slower over those spots to help smooth it out. Let's take one more. And back to center. Now reaching for the back corners of the box. Add the half circle forward, front half of the hula hoop, side to side. And take it all the way around the circle a few times, one way, going slower over any bumpy spots. And the other way. And back to center. Moving to the ankles now, shift most of your weight to one foot so we can alternate from the outside edge to the inside edge of the other foot. Just a little stretch from side to side. Keeping your gaze forward so we have a neutral head posture here. Start to trace around the edges of the foot in a circular motion. Let your knee move to help you make that motion. And other way. And relax that. Shifting sides, outside to the inside. And trace the edges one way. And other way. And let that relax. Just standing comfortably here while we move to the neck. Reach one ear towards the ceiling. For a little more stretch, your hand can come to the side. Fingertips up towards the ceiling, heel of the hand towards the floor. You can gently wiggle the fingers to release the muscles in the hand. Keep the ear reaching up. If this feels like too much sensation, you can always let the arm rest at your side. And release back to center, second side. And release. Coming back to the first side, ear towards the ceiling. This time tuck the chin down a bit, like you're holding an apple underneath your chin. Ear reaches up while the chin tucks down. And release. Second side. Tucking the chin down. And release back to center. Just let your head move any way it wants to move, maybe looking from side to side, or drawing a rainbow with your nose from one side to the other. And when you feel acclimated, just come back to center. Take a little water break here. And we're going to move into some work with the pebble. So we'll be focusing on these 3 points of contact along the widest part of the front of the foot. After the toes make connection with the rest of the foot, we have one spot on each side, and then one towards the back of the heel. And we'll be using the pebble in these 3 points so we can make a triangle underneath the bottom of the foot. So you can take your pebble. You might need a hard surface to get this feedback, but you can try just placing the pebble on the floor. We're going to press lightly into one of those 3 points. You can pick which one you want to start with. Just press down and release, press down and release. So we're bringing some more blood flow into that area, starting to wake up the nerves a little bit more, creating some sensation in the bottom of the foot so that our mind can make a connection more clearly with those spots. And if you're not feeling quite a lot from pressing down on the pebble, try putting the pebble on a harder surface, especially if you're on some carpet. So you might want to put the pebble on top of your block so that you have a little bit more feedback there, pressing down and releasing. Let's move to a second point. Choose another one of those 3 spots, press down and release. We don't want to go so far that we're like clenching our teeth or making a face, so make sure that it's not causing any discomfort, just gentle press and release. And let's go to the 3rd spot. And you can do this directly on the floor if you're getting enough feedback, rather than on your block. My floor is just a little bit squishy with a mat underneath it. All right, you can set your little pebble off to the side. Let's come back to our standing body scan and just sense the bottom of each foot here. Noticing if your footprint feels a little different from the foot we just worked with compared to the other foot. Imagining those 3 points of contact on the foot we worked with. Press equally into those 3 points. Try your best with the other foot, even though those points might not be quite so bright in our mind. This can help us stand up with a little bit more stability, maybe align our hips over our knees, knees over our ankles a little bit more. And let's move to the second foot and see if we can make them feel a little bit more even here. So you can go through the 3 points at your own pace, trying to relax the rest of your body as you gently press into the pebble. You could use a small little rock as well, or if you have a small, maybe dog toy or cat toy, that would also work as well. Let's go to the other point, second point. Press and release. And third point. And step off the pebble. You can set that aside. We won't need it anymore for this class. Come back to your standing body scan and just notice if both feet feel a little bit more the same. Try pressing into those 3 points equally underneath each foot. Notice how it changes your standing posture. We'll move into our balance practice now, working with these 3 points as we move through balance. Bring your feet a distance apart that feels good for your squats. Find those 3 points of contact, pressing equally into those 3 points. Imagine there's a board in front of your shins, so you're going to sit straight back behind you, lower yourself down without your knees moving forward. Push into the floor and squeeze your butt as you stand up. Let's take a few more warm-up squats here. And one more. Coming to standing, choose the side you want to work with first. Shift your weight, come into your kickstand. Open and close the gate so we can find the external rotation for the hip on this side. We'll be working with tree pose, and we want to respect the external range of motion for the hip as we practice our tree pose. So just notice how far your knee wants to open out to the side on this one. Then you can choose any variation of your tree pose that you would like. Since we have a block, you have that option. If you want to practice with a block for your tree pose, that just adds a little bit different sensation, different option to have the block. You can stay in kickstand, bring the foot to the side of your leg. Arms can be wherever it feels good here. Palms together, arms down at your hips or up. Just noticing what feels like a good option for you today. Try pressing 3 points of contact into the floor. Notice how that might change your stability. Relaxing your breathing. Let's try 10 more seconds. And both feet down, come back to squats. Find those 3 points of contact, pressing equally into those 3 points. When you sit back behind you, you'll feel the weight shift more towards that back heel point. Keeping your knees behind your toes helps to keep some of the stress off your knees. Let's take one more squat here. Come back to standing, and we'll take tree pose on the second side after we practice our kickstand and gate. Find that external range of motion on the second side. Might be different than the first side. And choose your option for tree pose on this side. Three points of contact, pushing down into the mat, standing taller. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Set both feet down, come back to squats. One more. All right, second round, we have the option to take our block. We're going to try balancing it on top of our head, just so that we can get that feedback of a neutral posture. So you can get that block set up. It's okay, it will probably fall. It's just here to practice, a little bit fun kind of feedback. Then choose your tree pose with the block on your head. This option also teaches us to consider when we have some new challenges or something that feels a little bit harder. We might want to have a little bit more grace for ourselves. Adjust our expectations as we adjust to the new challenge. So this block brings us a new challenge. Adjusting our expectations for our tree pose. Being kind to ourselves as we adapt to the new challenge. Face is relaxed, breathing is relaxed. Three points of contact, pushing into the mat, standing a little taller, a little more stable for 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Grab your block, set both feet down. Option if you want to try your squats with the block on your head, that might be a little bit fun. Press into those 3 points of contact throughout your squats. Take one more squat. And second side. Take the tree pose that you like on this side, could be the same or a little bit different than the first side. Three points of contact underneath your standing foot, pressing down into the floor, helping you stand tall. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, 1. You can hold that block on your head, set it down, take your squats. One more. Come back to standing, set the block to the side. You can take a little water break here. We'll move into hip stretches before our last round. Hip stretches, imagine there's a little button over off to the side. You're going to tap it with your hip, go from side to side. Just the range of motion that feels good here. You can change the direction, maybe a little bit more forward or a little bit more behind. Kind of like you're reaching for some spots around that hula hoop that we worked with earlier. Tapping different points around that circle. And come back to center. Hula hoop all the way around, one way, big circle. Noticing any spots that feel a little bumpy or sticky, going slower over those spots as we make our way around the circle. Other way. And back to center. Last round, we have a windy tree. So we'll shift to one foot. It won't look as much like a tree this time. We're going to swing the other leg and swing the arms any way that feels interesting, staying within your range of comfort, but coming towards the edge of it so you feel a little wobbly. And we're working toward the point where we get a little bit unsteady and have to set our foot back down. So it sends a message to our brain that, hey, we're not quite perfect with balance yet. We need to keep on improving. This also helps to train our nervous system to recorrect our balance if we get a little bit thrown off balance. Practicing how to respond. Try 10 more seconds on this side. If you haven't found that edge yet, you can try closing one eye. That will give you a little bit more challenge. And 3, 2, 1. Set both feet down. Coming into squats. And we just have one more side, and then we're done with our balance practice. Last squat here. Back to standing. Windy tree on the second side. Balance is usually a little different from side to side, so you might notice you feel a little more stable or a little less stable on this side compared to the first. Working to find that edge. Let's try 10 more seconds. Three, 2, 1. Both feet down. Squats, last round. One more. Back to standing. Little water break here, then we'll move into stabilizing practice. We'll start with anchor. Feet can be about mat distance apart or shoulder distance apart, however you're standing. Toes can be straight forward or slightly turned in. Send your hips back a little bit so you feel more weight in your heels. Gently bend your knees, then draw your feet towards each other. Palms come to the thighs. Keep the feet drawing towards each other as you hinge forward. Slide your hands down the front of your legs. Draw your feet together to help you hinge back up. Repeat at your own pace. If you notice any work in your low back here, try not to fold quite so far forward. We want to keep all the effort in the legs, not the low back. Lightly pressing the palms into the legs as you slide down can also provide a little more stability here. Let's take one more. And come back to standing. You can release the anchor, shake it out a bit. We got 2 more rounds. Second round, we'll add some arm movements here. Let's set the anchor again. Toes slightly turned in, weight back towards the heels. Gently bend the knees, draw the feet towards each other. Arms are going to swing from side to side. Let's bring them over to the right, then swing them all the way up over your head and to the left. Up and over. So we have some shoulder mobility here. Keep those feet drawing together to stabilize your lower body. We're working both sides of the brain at once as we cross the center line of our body with both arms. Option to add some snaps, maybe at the top or at the ends. Just another layer for the brain exercise, a little bit more fun maybe. Relax your face. Let's go one more time on each side. And come back to center. Let the arms rest. You can shake them out. Release your anchor, shake it out. Last round, we'll do forward fold with extended mountain. Set your anchor. If it's a little bit harder for you to find that drawing in of the feet, turn your toes slightly in. Like if you were wearing a pair of skis, they would cross in front. Send your hips back a bit, bend your knees, draw your feet together. Palms to thighs, fold forward. Feet draw together to help you stand back up. This time, option for the arms to lift up, reach overhead. Take a little back bend if you like. Come back to neutral before the arms come down and we fold again. Take it at your own pace. Keeping the feet drawing together the whole time, stabilizing and supporting the lower half of the body. Upper body is kind of floating through these movements here. Nice and easy. Notice how your breath wants to help you go through the movements. Maybe you can change the pace to match your breath. Two more. And let the arms come down, release your anchor. You can shake it out. Chair pose is next. For chair, we have the option to use the block. You can set the block between your thighs above your knees and gently squeeze in as we take our chair pose. Try to find those 3 points of contact underneath your feet before we begin, pressing equally into those 3 points. Arms will come forward to counterbalance. As we sit back, weight shifts towards the heels. Sitting down, then press your feet into the floor and come back up. We'll just take little pulses here. As you stand up, find those 3 points of contact before you sit back down again, shifting the weight towards the heels. Knees are staying just about in the same spot, not moving forward here. Let's take one more. Come back to standing. You can release the block if you like, just shake it out a little bit. We'll add one more layer here for this second round. Let's practice coming onto the toes as slowly as you can, lifting up. Calf and ankle strength here, ankle stability and balance. Lower down. Take a few at your own pace, going as slow as you can, up and down. Of course, if you don't like the block, you can always take it out, set it down. Let's add this in with our chair pose now. Sit back behind you. Come into standing, up onto the toes. Sit back down. At your own pace, notice how your breath can sync with your movement here. Go a little faster or slower. Let's go 2 more rounds. And release the block, set it down. Let's take a little water break here. Notice if your body wants to stretch or move at all while we're in standing, we're going to come on down to the mat. take a moment just to rest. You can lie down. Make sure you can reach your block. Resting in any position that feels good for you here. Just for a few breaths. Bridge pose is next. If you liked the block during chair, you might want to use the block for bridge. Same position, goes between your thighs. Gently squeeze your thighs into the block. You can have it on the most narrow or the medium height, depending on what feels best for your hips. Find the 3 points of contact underneath the feet. Feet might be a little closer together in order to squeeze that block. Press into those 3 points of contact. Bring the palms to the floor, arms pushing down into the floor, hands pushing down into the floor. 3 points of contact under the feet. Tuck the tail under. Press down with the feet. Lift the seat. You can hold your bridge pose or lift and lower as we did with chair. Just notice what feels best in your body here. Focused on those 3 points of contact, pushing down into the floor, arms pressing down, feeling that stability. Helps us with grounding. Sends our nervous system a message that we are supported. Ten more seconds if you're holding. 3, 2, 1, lower down. Take a rest. If you like, you can remove the block and come into butterfly or rest any way that feels good for you here. We'll take one more round of bridge. Get yourself set up, press into the feet, press into the arms and the hands, tuck the tail, lift the seat, holding or lifting and lowering. Three points of contact into the floor. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, lower down, remove the block, take a rest, butterfly, or any other position that feels good here. We have one more bit of work and then we'll move into our stretch and release portion. Working on our pedestal practice next, we're going to balance the block on top of one foot. Let's start with the right foot. Keep the left foot on the floor. Slide that block on top of your right foot towards the ceiling here. Press the low back down into the floor. Left foot down into the floor. You can keep your arms up if you want to be prepared to catch that block. Pressing the foot into the block, imagine those 3 points of contact. If you want a little bit more challenge, you can gently bend and straighten your leg just to add a little bit more. Another option is to draw some small circles with your foot towards the ceiling. So this is a great brain exercise that also helps with our stabilizer muscles in the hips. Relaxing your face. Left foot's pushing down, low back is pushing down. If you're making circles, go the other way. See if you can add a little bit more challenge here. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Grab the block. Take a little rest here. If you want your legs long or any other position, you can point your toes, take some ankle circles, and we'll go to the other side. We're just doing one round on each side. So right foot stays on the floor this time. Block goes on the left foot. Low back pushes down into the mat. Right foot pushes down. Can you find those 3 points of contact underneath your foot into the block? That's interesting. You can bend and straighten your leg. It's okay if your leg doesn't come all the way straight here. Other option to make some tiny circles drawn with your foot towards the ceiling. Another bonus of this exercise is usually when we drop the block, we might want to laugh a little bit. Laughter is always good. Let's try 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Grab that block. You can set it aside. Take any rest or movement here that your legs want to take. And we'll move into our bicycle practice next. Let's bring the feet to the floor. Gently press the feet down into the mat, 3 points of contact. Keep the left foot on the floor. Step the right foot towards the ceiling. Pedal the right foot forward. Let's get full range of motion for the ankle here. So point your toes as your leg is straight. Then draw your toes back towards your shin when your knee is bent. Like that. Bicycle's a little bit too big for you. And you have to point your toes to stay on the pedal. Left foot pushing down, low back pushing down, feeling that support. Arms can be on the floor pushing down. Let's go backwards for 5. And forward 5 more. Right foot down, left foot pedals forward. Right foot pushes down into the mat for stability. Full range of motion for the ankle. Backwards for 5. And forward 5. And left foot comes down, foot press and release. Windshield wipers next. Drop the knees from side to side, alternating at your own pace. Feet can be about mat distance apart here, but you can change that distance of your feet to change the sensation a little bit. Just notice the range of motion here. Any sensation you can feel as your knees drop from side to side. And we'll take our torso release next. See if we can find a little more range of motion here with our wipers. Bring your feet back to the floor. Cross the right leg over the left. Legs can come to touch. Back of the right leg resting on top of the left. Let the knees drop towards the right. Head can turn left. Just let the knees fall the distance that feels easy, releasing the belly so the knees can drop closer to the floor. Contract the belly to draw the knees back up to the start. We'll take it 2 more times. Knees drop to the right, head left. Release the belly, knees drop closer to the floor. Contract the belly, draw the knees up. 1 more time to the right, knees drop, head turns, belly releases. Knees drop closer to the floor. Contract the belly, draw the knees up. Uncross the legs, cross them the other way. Left leg is on top this time. Knees drop towards the left. Head right. Release the belly so the knees can fall. Contract the belly, draw the knees up. 2 more to the left. Knees drop, head turns. Release the belly. Contract the belly, draw the knees up. 1 more time to the left. Knees drop, head turns, release the belly. Contract the belly, draw the knees back up, uncross the legs, take a mat distance apart. Back to windshield wipers just to notice if anything feels different. This time, knees drop from side to side. Maybe there's a little more freedom of movement from the torso or the hips. We'll take our lying cross body stretch next. Right leg extends long. Left leg crosses the center of the body over to the right. You can use the arm to guide it. Head can turn left. Let the top leg be heavy. As you exhale, let it release closer to the mat. Taking a few breaths here. Face is relaxed. Let's make it a smart transition. Contract the abdominals to protect the back. Bend the knee closer towards the chest. Set the foot down. Left leg goes long. Right leg crosses the center of the body over to the left. You can guide it with your arm. Keeping both shoulders on the mat. Right hip can be off the floor. As you exhale, let the leg be heavy. Smart transition again. Contract the belly. Guide the knee across the center of the body. Right foot steps back down. Left foot steps on the mat. Foot press and release. Let's take arch and flatten here. Slowly rock your pelvis towards your heels. Belly is relaxed. Head can move if it wants to move. Exhale, release towards the floor. Let everything go. Other way, contract the abdominals, tuck the tail under, and press the spine into the mat. And release. Forward again, tilt the pelvis towards the heels. Notice if you want to come up onto your toes or onto your heels as your pelvis rocks forward. You can press your shoulder blades into the mat to make a little bit bigger arch if you like. Knees can open out to the sides a little bit more. And release. Let everything go back to neutral. Other way, tuck the tail under, contract the abdominals, press the spine into the mat. You can come onto your toes or onto your heels or let your knees touch together in the center. Just notice what feels good here. And take it one more time on your own. This movement helps us to release the front and back side of the body. And release. Moving into our lower body stretch, keep the left foot on the floor, step the right foot towards the ceiling. You can hold the right leg for support as you point and flex your right foot. Big range of motion here for the foot, for the ankle. Like you're underwater, using some effort to point your toes and then draw your toes back towards your shin. Let's add a knee bend as you draw your toes back. Bend your knee, straighten your leg and point your toes. Take a few more here. Pause with your knee bent, ankle circles, big range of motion one way. And other way. Figure 4, right ankle over the left thigh, right knee opens to the side, toes can draw back towards the shin to support the knee. Option for the left foot to come off the mat, bringing the stretch closer to your chest. Breathing into the belly. Both feet come down, second side. Now the left foot steps towards the ceiling. Point and flex. Right foot can press down towards the mat for stability. Lower back presses down. Add the knee bend. Draw your toes back towards your shin. Bend your knee. Straighten your leg and point your toes. Pause with your knee bent, ankle circles. Other way. Figure 4. And set both feet down. Take a foot press here. And let the legs go long. You can point the toes, flex the feet, take some ankle circles. Then imagine a steering wheel underneath your low back. Steering wheel turns to the right, so your right hip hikes towards your right armpit. Left leg feels longer, right leg feels shorter. Maybe your head wants to turn to one side. Feet might want to point or flex. Release back to neutral. Take the other side. Left hip hikes towards the left armpit. Right leg reaches away from the body. Left leg feels shorter. Right leg feels longer. Alternate a few times from side to side in the range of motion that feels good for you. This helps to release the muscles around the pelvis. And when you feel ready to be done, just notice any other little movements or adjustments that your body wants to make before we come back to our body scan. Body scan position, legs can be long or feet can be on the floor with the knees bent. Let's just notice now how our body is resting on the mat. Underneath the feet or the heels, low back, shoulder blades, back of your head, and your breathing. Just sensing if anything feels a little bit different since we started. And to conclude, you can take another press if you want to press your heels or your feet into the floor, or your hands, arms, shoulders down into the floor just a couple times to feel that stability. And whenever you feel ready, you can let that relax. Feel free to rest a little while longer. Whenever you like, you can gently come into seated. This was the class that we did in person for February 2026. Hope you feel a little bit better now since we started, and you have a good rest of your day. Take care.